Hello guys, Lifehackster here. Today I'm going to compare the two Yi cameras that is frequently mistaken for each other, and also because on how Yi named them and labeled these cameras. They are two different cameras that are almost looks the same in pictures but are totally built differently. So I have here the Yi 1080p home camera and the Yi home camera 2, which is also a 1080p. I have reviewed and checked out these cameras in my past videos, and I'll include the links in the description down below if you want to check them out. As you can see in their Amazon pictures, they look almost exactly the same camera. The pricing also fluctuates on this, especially the Yi 2, because in the last couple weeks, they were the same price. But now, the Yi Home Camera 2 is $10 more. And I guess Yi really hasn't made up their minds on how to price this camera, because the price changes regularly and even went up to $120 a few months ago. Now for comparison between these cameras. The Yi 1080p camera has a 112-degree wide-angle lens, while the Yi 2 has 130 degrees. As to image enhancement, the Yi 2 has HDR, WDR, which is a high dynamic range or wide dynamic range, which basically means it takes high definition video footage. As to the image sensor, the Yi 2 has a 2.12 megapixel CMOS sensor as compared to a 2 megapixel on the other one. Video streaming. The Yi 2 can stream 1080p quality video at 25 frames per second, while the 1080p home only up to 15 frames per second. For night vision, the Yi 2 has 11 infrared LEDs and 8 for the 1080p. The Yi cameras uses a 940 nanometer wavelength on their infrareds, which is basically invisible to the naked eye. So in total darkness, you will not see the LED light up as compared to other cameras in the market. As to motion detection, they have the same features. And for extra features, the Yi 2 camera has gesture recognition, which you can get the camera to record a 10-second clip of video just by using hand gestures. I have demoed this on my other video, which is actually pretty neat, but it is more of a novelty in my case anyways. Both cameras feature two-way audio, either in intercom or hands-free mode. As to the micro SD card storage, it shows here that both cameras support 8 to 32 gigabytes, but I've seen on the Yi's website that the Yi 2 can support up to 64 gigabytes. So there is some typo with Amazon's description. On my right side is the Yi Home Camera 2, and on the left is the Yi 1080p Home Camera. As you can see, the Yi 2 is taller if you set them side by side. The base of the Yi 2 is much thicker and it contributes to the added height. The micro USB port is hooked up on its base. The big difference of the Yi 1080p is that the camera can be removed from the base. You can pop it off by pushing from the front to the back, like so. And with this camera, you will have more mounting options, like putting it inside an outdoor mount so that you can use the camera outdoors. This camera is almost identical to the Nest Indoor or Dropcam cameras. It's just a tad thinner. The base can be tilted forward and backward like the Yi 2 camera, and there is also one thing that this base has that the Yi 2 doesn't have. You can unscrew the base from the camera arm by twisting it counterclockwise, and you will see that there are holes that you can screw in the base to a wall or ceiling. The Yi 2 doesn't have this option, but it gives you a double-sided mounting tape, which I think is not as secure as screwing in the camera. Putting the camera back isn't easy as taking it off. Just reverse the steps. As you can see on the Yi Home Camera 2, the base is a part of the camera itself, so it is not removable, and you have limited mounting options as compared to the Yi 1080p home camera. Adjustability of the camera arm is about the same, so you can tilt the camera all the way forward and all the way back. And on this camera, you will not be able to remove the base from the arm, so the only option to mount this on a wall or a ceiling is by using the included mounting tape. This is mostly designed to be a desktop camera. Comparing the base to the 1080p is that the Yi 2 is thicker and it is canted forward. The back side of the base is where you attach the micro USB cable. The whole unit is the camera itself. Also, there is a difference on the power adapters. The Yi 2 is bigger as compared to the other one. Both needs an output of a standard 5 volts, but the Yi 2 needs at least 2 amperes, while the 1080p home camera only needs 1. This only means one thing: the Yi 2 needs more juice to run. We can also see it on the USB cables. The Yi 2 uses a bigger cable, a 24 gauge micro USB cable as compared to a 28 gauge on the 1080p one. So you need to take this into account if you're purchasing extended USB cables for the Yi 2. It needs more power. Talking about power, I noticed also that the Yi 2 runs a little bit hotter when filling it from the back of the camera. It has an aluminum casing on the back which effectively dissipates the heat. Checking it with my thermometer, it measures around 106 degrees. While the 1080p home camera measures around 97 degrees. So you also have to take this into account to where you're going to mount the camera. Make sure you have enough room for the heat to dissipate. Now, with all the difference that I mentioned, and with the Yi 2 camera having better numbers as to the image sensor and better on the image quality, let's now see the footage between the two cameras. So here is the daytime view of the Yi 2. Now this is the 1080p. Both are good as to the quality, clear footage, but the 1080p is a tad darker as compared to the Yi 2. Now this is the Yi 2 at night, infrared on. I think the couch caught all the infrared, but you can still clearly see both doors. This is the 1080p. Comparing it to the Yi 2, the Yi 2 has a softer night vision. And this one is a little bit brighter. So now I'm going to compare the Yi 2 with my Yi Dome 1080p camera that I use in my living room and kitchen area. It uses the same image sensor like the Home 1080p. Both video feeds are pretty good, with the Yi 2 a bit softer, and you can see the difference on the wide-angle lens. Lastly, we have pitch black scenario, and this is with the Yi 2 camera. The Yi camera uses LEDs on a 940 nanometer range that is invisible to the naked eye, so the camera's LEDs will not light up red like the other cameras. Both cameras have pretty good night vision, but the Dome 1080p is a little bit brighter, which is interesting because the Yi 2 should have 11 LEDs instead of 8, which the Dome 1080p has. Overall, both cameras are excellent choice for security cameras inside the house. The Yi 2 camera has a little bit more features, but it is not as flexible on the mounting options as compared to the Yi Home 1080p. And also the Yi 2 tends to yo-yo on the price and is usually more expensive. I was lucky enough to have bought the Yi 2 when it was the same price as the 1080p. As of this video, it is now $10 more. So depending on your needs, both cameras are a good buy. That's it guys, thanks for watching and hoping you like this video. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button below to get notified of my new videos of product reviews and everyday life hacks. Thank you.